Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So, is everyone ready? Shall we wait for 3 minutes for the others to join us? I'll begin exactly at 3:45. Okay, let's begin. It's almost exactly 3:45. How are you all? Are you all there?
Fine, ma'am. Fine.
Good. Good.
Fine, ma'am.
Sapna,
We are all
Prabha,
good, ma'am. Thank you. How are
Shailaja,
you, ma'am?
Mohina. I'm good. Malati,
You all fine,
Ditya,
ma'am?
Firdaus, Annapurna. Only women? What about men? Men are not active. What about men?
Good, ma'am.
Yeah, Anil. Yes, good. So I'm just trying to shake you off from your afternoon boring, very chilly afternoon. No, it's so dark, almost like 6 in the evening.
Yeah, because of the cyclone.
Right. So, when are your exams?
Don't know, ma'am.
You don't know, but you are all preparing well for your exams. I'm sure you are all doing it. Okay, now let's begin. May I now request every one of you to switch your mics off? Thank you. We are supposed to be now moving to the other unit where Heart of Darkness, I think it is 4th unit, if I'm not wrong. Heart of Darkness. All right. Now, please listen. I am doing Heart of Darkness. Whichever unit or whatever paper it is on, please note that I am doing Heart of Darkness today. It's written by Joseph Conrad. It is written sometime around the first decade of the 20th century, maybe 1902 or so. Joseph Conrad had written this novella. This is not a novel, but a shortish kind of a novel where the text isn't too big to fit into the concept of novel, neither too short to become a short story. It's in between, maybe it runs into 75, 80 pages. So a short story may run into 10, 15, 20 pages, whereas novel runs into 150, 200 and more than that. But the novella is somewhere between the short story format and the novel format. It's in between, maybe running into 70, 75 or 80 pages. So this Heart of Darkness comes under the format of a novella. It lies between the format of a short story and a novel. Neither short story nor a novel. Now, what this Heart of Darkness is about? Look at the title. Heart of Darkness. Whose heart is dark? See, when we are referring to the binary ideas, for example, light. What the opposite of light is the absence of light. That is darkness. One cannot define darkness on its own without referring it to the presence of light. So the presence of light is light, okay, where everything is very clear, everything can be seen, but the absence of light is dark or darkness, like the color white, and the absence of white is black. Goodness, the absence of good is evil or bad. So there are a few concepts where the relationship is so imperative between the two concepts that you cannot describe darkness on its own, by its own, without referring it to the immediate pale of which is light. And so darkness is the absence of light. So what does light signify? Light signifies wisdom. Light signifies knowledge. It signifies goodness, civilization, and all that is good. So what is darkness? The opposite of it. The absence of knowledge, the absence of wisdom, the absence of goodness, the absence of civilization. All these is darkness. And so here a heart which is dark, heart of darkness. So whose heart this is the big question. And as we are going to embark upon this journey of understanding this novella, we need to also understand the concept of imperialism and colonialism. As we were doing the literature of a 19th century, that is when you were doing paper 4 or so, you understood that the Europeans are very adventurous, and then they were very aggressive, and that they are not satisfied just by staying at one place. They want to take on voyages or by the ships and reach different places, new places, explore new areas, and then go there to the new areas and begin their business and commerce, and also establish themselves there and start exploiting the natural and the human resources within that area, and then convert that area into their colony. For example, India. They came to India in some 250 years ago on the pretext of business. Then they understood that India is a rich and fertile and prosperous place. Then they established themselves here in the form of East India Company. Then they started colonizing us by exploiting our natural and the human resources, both. They set up their governance, they set up their administration, they set up everything in all possible aspects and started ruling over us until 1947, when they have decided that it is time for them now to leave the country back into their hands and then go back to their respective countries in Europe. So India is not just one colony, But many other such areas across the globe, they have set up their establishments of imperialism and colonized the areas, especially the African continent. So when they went, during their expeditions, they found out that African continent is very huge and that it is an absolutely virgin place where the natural resources are aplenty, abundant, and copious. At the same time, the natives, the local people, the Africans, they are not civilized. See, civilized here under the understanding and then the comprehension of the Englishman. This is the Englishman who is calling the African as an uncivilized man, as a savage, as a primitive, as a person who is not guided by the societal norms, and as a man who is leading a very loose and unorganized life. Who decided it? The white man has decided it. But until then, since thousands of years, the native in the African continent, that they have all been living their lives absolutely free from all the external influences. Happily, they were leading their lives. But the white man called the black man. Now the white man is the white race, that is the European race, and the black man is the black race, that is the African race. The white man considered himself superior. He claimed his status to be ultimate in the entire human race because of his white complexion. You please have to note this in your mind. You have to register this. You may be very surprised at this point that, is it so? Is it true that the white man, that is the European, had considered himself, proclaimed himself to be the supreme race, belonging to the supreme race in the entire universe? Among all the races, the white race is the superior race because of their complexion, the white complexion. So the white complexion had decided, that became the deciding factor in establishing their supremacy. So the absence of white is black. So the black is now being represented by the Africans. So whatever white is now, white is supreme, white is civilized, white is knowledge, white is wisdom, white is everything that is wonderful, beautiful. So the absence of all this is being represented by the black man. So the black man, that is the African, that is the black race, is inferior race, okay, ugly race, uncivilized race, people who do not have any knowledge, and most savage. So when I am using these words, these are not mine, let me tell you. I am not using these words because it is my opinion. No. I am using these words because this is the opinion of the white man. So the binary differences between the white and black, the white man has founded until then, the black people did not even know that they are unwise, that they are far from knowledge, that they are uncivilized. They have all been leading their own lives. When the white man entered, the white man started telling the black man, see, look at your complexion. You are black. Look at my complexion. I am white. White is superior. So this, and look at your kind of lifestyle. Look at your religion. Look at your language. Look at your practices. Look at your rituals. Look at your ceremonies. Look at your culture. Look at your language, heritage, history, civilization. Do you have anything? Do you have any heritage? Do you have any rich, varied culture? No. Look at us. We can claim of, literature, we can claim of culture, we can claim of silk, we can claim of all the beautiful things in life. We have been enjoying all the pleasures of life. So we are superior over you. And these poor black men, they have accepted. The acceptance is very dangerous here because they thought, yeah, maybe, yes. Maybe because they are white, they are superior. Maybe because they have thorough access to knowledge and spheres and fields of knowledge. They are all superior and we are inferior. So that's the difference. The white man had wedged in the world. Entire globe he had occupied. 80% of the globe he had occupied, and he made this. He started drawing these lines of inferiority, superiority, oppression, supreme, and then knowledge and no knowledge, civilized, uncivilized. He started drawing such lines. In India too, he drew such lines. But in India, the problem that he faced was India was far more superior in culture, in architecture, in designs, in buildings, in silk, in language, in literature. So we are far more better than him. That is why he couldn't do much damage to India as much as he had done to Africa. Are you able to get this point, my dear friends?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. See, by the time he had come to us, we already have our own great civilization. We have our own palaces, constructions, forts, temples, architecture, literature, Sanskrit, Telugu, Hindi, all kinds of literature, wonderful epics, the stories, and then everything you can speak of the culture, Indian culture, it is there to show him that we are no less. But there also he could establish himself as superior by calling our culture as very secondary, not very prominent, and that the Western philosophy is superior and the Indian philosophy is inferior. So the strongest point that can actually fight with the Western philosophy is the in-depth spiritual philosophy that India can demonstrate in all the aspects of life. Yet he found some loopholes, and then see, you are all dark. The major point is his white complexion. Now you really find it so funny and so it is so ridiculous to establish one's own supremacy just by his white complexion. Yes, that's the colonialism. That's the idea of colonialism. Even today, if during the wedding, the boy's parents first they would like to have the girl to be fair. That's the main point. If she is fair, she is beautiful. So she fair and beautiful are the common terms that can be paired together. Black and beautiful? No way. How can anybody be beautiful by being black? No, 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 no. It can never be. Black is ugly. Fair is beautiful, because the white man told us no. But see how we are trying to brush it off aside, the great culture which has so many beautiful persons with black complexion. Well, that we are not considering. No, 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 no. This was told by the white man. So anything that is told by the white man becomes genuine and authenticated. Like if you are buying something from America, it is a very good piece. You are buying in Abbott's, Koti, it's a bad piece because it is Indian piece. The white man says black is ugly, so we agree. Yes, 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 yes. Black is ugly. It's like that, which means that our minds also have been colonized by the white man. Our thinking also has been colonized by the white man. So whatever comes from the West is the best. That is the kind of thinking we are into. English language is the best. How can that be best? Every language has its own beautiful side to it. My Telugu is good. Your Hindi is good. Tamil is good. Every language has its own ideas. No, it has its own concepts. It has its own beauty. Every language should be treated equally. Every culture should be treated equally. We are such a beautiful land with diverse kind of cultures, and we are all happily living together. That unity of the spirit of nationalism, all that is so beautifully driving us. And this white man comes and tells, no, 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 your culture is so weak. So this is how he had started calling, especially the African continent, the entire continent, as the dark continent. Because it is the continent where people are all black, ugly, bad, evil, uncivilized, uneducated, everything that is negative. Anything that connotates negative is affiliated with the term African continent. So that is the description, that is the idea which the white man has spread across. Okay. So this is the major idea behind understanding Heart of Darkness. So these white people did such horrendous acts, such inhuman acts during their colonial period, when they were colonizing different countries. What kind of strategies they have adopted in order to expand themselves, expand their empire, expand its imperialism. So inhuman, so uncivilized, seriously to call. How they have killed thousands of people. How they have made millions of people into slaves. And so, and then they took them to different islands like Mauritius, Maldives, Sri Lanka, then Caribbean islands, Jamaica, West Indies, all these islands. These African slaves were taken to work for them on these islands for generations together. Who gave them the right to make other human being into their slave? No, it is not given anywhere. There is no such right, but they have written their own rules. So if 200, 300 years ago, they have taken thousands of slaves, thousands of them they kidnapped, forced them to become slaves. From Africa, they have shipped them to Caribbean islands to work, to become slaves on their sugarcane, tea and coffee plantations, which are scattered across the Caribbean islands. These people, they were so violently treated, so inhumanly treated. They were treated like cattle. The black people were treated like animals. They were treated like objects. They were treated like commodities. They were treated like, just like the buffaloes and the cows. They were never treated like human beings. They just were treated like animals that would work on their farms. And then they considered themselves to be the superior race, that is, the white race is superior and the black race is still evolving. And they also told the black people that, see, in the process of evolution, the white man has evolved very fast and the black man has stopped evolving at the point where he had entered into the phase of the monkey who stands on its two legs. So now if you are trying to imagine the graph of how the monkey ape slowly starts evolving, and by the time it reaches the fifth or sixth phase, it stands on its two legs and the hair falls off its body. There, at that phase, the black man stopped evolving, whereas the white man started evolving faster and then had become into the present human being. This is the kind of doctrine they believed in. Who? The whites. And they made the black men really believe that yes, they have stopped evolving and still they are in the process of evolving, and that they are there at the monkey ape level only with the hair fallen off the body. That is the, Anil said Jallianwala Bagh. Yes, I totally agree with that. They are so inhuman. And you know the kind of treatment that they gave the black people while they were shipping them to the different islands. Thousands of these slaves were kidnapped and forced and then whipped and beaten into slavery. And they were just huddled into small cabins on the ships. Imagine one room which can accommodate around 50 people. In that cabin, they would throw 100 or 150 of the slaves, all of them chained together by their legs and by their hands. The chain continues to, it's like a long chain which passes through the hands and legs of all the slaves together. And imagine in such a small cabin which can accommodate only 50 people, 150 of them are all huddled into. And so they are so tightly shut. You please try to imagine. And what I am telling is the facts. And their hands and then their legs are in chains. And they are not allowed to even leave that small dark place. And the ship is it is there on the sea, moving, rocking. The ship is rocking, and the kind of motion that the ship makes as it moves, it is so sick. It makes people vomit, isn't it? We all have that motion sickness. Some people, while they go by the plane, they vomit. Some people, when they go by the bus, they vomit because of the motion sickness. So many people, even in the most healthy people, also vomit when they are traveling by the ship because of the sea motions. And these people were all put together in one room, and then they would vomit on each other's faces. I'm not exaggerating. This is the truth. They would urine. They were not allowed to even pass, urine and pass the shit outside. They were all doing it there itself. Wherever they are doing it because it is. They are not allowed to even be free even for 1 minute. And somebody is urinating, it falls on somebody else's face. Somebody is vomiting, it falls on somebody else's face. And there itself, they are huddled for 3 months. It means as long as the journey takes place. And so painful, so horrible, dark cabins without any gap for fresh air, 150 to 200 people all crowded into one place, lot of smells. Oh my God. Can you imagine? This is the kind of treatment the white man had given to the black man, just because the white man felt that he is superior and that he can do this to the black race. And he is entitled to do this to the black race because the black race is not a human race. It is a evolving race. It's still evolving. It's not a human race. And so they are so uncivilized. That's why we are doing this to them. They are just like cattle. Imagine how cattle are transported. Sometimes when we go by the highways, on trucks, the cattle are, the cows and the buffaloes are transported, and how horrendously they are transported, how they are tied to one another, and there itself they urinate, there itself they pass the shit and all that. In the same manner, these human beings were transported. So who is civilized here is the big question. Is the white man civilized? Can you call this civilization? Can you call this sophistication? Can you call this humanity? These are the questions. Nobody asked them because they really thought that he is superior. they didn't allow anybody to think. See, thinking is so important, questioning is so important. And whenever you question anything, it means you are on your own, independent, and you are thinking. But that white man did not allow anybody to think and question. So it means that the mind also has been colonized. Not just the human body, but the mind of the human body also has been colonized by the white man. So the white man has not allowed the black man to think and question. So whose heart is dark? Now you tell me. Whose heart is dark after listening to all this?
White man, ma'am.
Yes.
White man.
Yes.
White man.
Yes. So isn't this very the entire history of the human race? This the colonialism, the imperialism that the white man has embarked upon is a huge black mark. It is a black mark in the entire human history where they have erased the culture, erased the language, erased the religion, erased the history of many countries and many races. They wanted to establish their race as the superior race. That is why wherever they went, they left. They were introducing their ideas, no, their culture, their language. See, if I am now talking in English, it's because of his influence. But what the best part is that I have not forgotten my Telugu, and I am an ardent lover of my Telugu language, and I respect my Telugu language. It means my mind is not, I have not allowed, see, I haven't allowed the white man to colonize my mind by calling my Telugu as secondary and calling English as the best language. If any one of us is doing that here, it means that we have allowed the white man to dictate our mindset. We shouldn't allow anybody to dictate our mind. We shouldn't allow anybody to colonize our mind. Our mind, our thinking is our own. Our questioning is our own. Why should it be influenced by somebody else from outside? If you are allowing somebody to do your thinking, somebody is thinking on your behalf, then you have allowed that someone to colonize your mind. And when you have allowed that to happen, your life is in shambles. You are not any longer an individual, independent, autonomous agent. Are you getting this point, my dear participants? Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Anil sir. Do you think that whatever we are discussing today is making some sense? That we can also apply in our own lifestyle now.
Yes,
Like
yes,
a woman,
absolutely.
like a woman in her in our Indian culture or any other patriarchal cultures, a woman is not allowed to think on her own, and she is not allowed to raise any questions. It means that she is colonized. Her mind is colonized by the patriarchal structure, that is her husband, her father, her brothers, her neighbors, the society at large has colonized the mind of the woman by not allowing her to think on her own and be an autonomous agent or an independent person. In Indian culture, which is patriarchal culture, this happens in most cases. In many other cultures across the globe, wherever there is patriarchy, the colonization of the mind of the woman is thoroughly done. It is the job of the woman to undo that kind of a colonization and let herself be on her own as a thinking woman and as an independent woman who can think and talk and analyze things all by herself without allowing somebody else to think for her. We did that for a very long time. We women have been doing it for a very long time. And then this white man also, even after he exited, even after he left the countries, he still is continuing his colonization through indirect means. Indirectly, he is still continuing his authority over us. How? By way of, anybody wants to answer how indirectly the Englishman or the white man is still continuing his colonization even today? Today is the world. Yeah, sir, you want to tell?
Yeah. Western culture, dressing or fast foods.
Yes, fast food.
McDonald's.
See, every street has McDonald's. Every street has Domino's, and the fast food culture it is a way of colonizing our food culture, isn't it? Lakshmi Vasundhara.
Even in business also, madam, trading.
Yes. So I'm so happy that you are all opening up your minds to, allow that kind of an analysis.
Yes, ma'am.
See, in our own kitchens, the kind of food items that are there, or in the bathrooms, our bathrooms, the Western commode itself is an example. It may sound very bad, it may sound very crude, but that Indian system of toilet is very good for the body. But we have become so lazy that we have inherited the kind of the Western commode system where everything is so convenient. Now we cannot really go back to that Indian. When we are looking for rented houses, is that Indian system or the Western system of toilet? First preference. So this is something that looks like a joke, but it is so important because in every aspect we are being colonized. The soaps that we are using, the multinational company shampoos and soaps, and then the food, and then the kind of language, the kind of thinking, the kind of cultural dissolvement. It's the culture, how it is dissolving slowly and disintegrating, and we are heading towards
pens and pencils also, ma'am.
Yes.
Small point, including pens and pencils.
Right. Yes. See, earlier we were writing on slates. Initially in the schools, LKG and UKG, we were carrying the balapamu and pen, and then the palaka balapamu. That doesn't exist. Devil Gokul FF. Yeah, thank you. So whose heart is dark is the question. It is the white man's heart. It is a white man who is practicing all kinds of unsophisticated, uncivilized, inhuman methods in order to establish his supremacy over the other races in the world. So this text deals with that idea of colonization. And after reading this text, many Africans, whoever has received the Western education, after reading Heart of Darkness, they felt that who is writing our story? The white man is writing our story. Indian history, Indian stories, Indian ideas are all supposed to be written by the Indians because we are the insiders. But if our story is written by an American, what is he doing? If our story is written by a European, what is he doing? He is giving his idea. He is giving his point of view. He is giving his dimension. Like if you watch Discovery Channel, anytime they come to India to show the Ganga and all that, first thing, the first frame that they show through their lens is the cows on the streets. Did you ever watch that? Did you ever come across this? Yes, funny?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. They show the cows. To only tell the world that, see, this is the kind of life the Indians lead. They have the cows on the streets. They coexist with the cows, and the cows are all moving around the streets. And this is how they show, they present our culture through their lens. So, if I am telling my story, I should be telling my story from my point of view, not your point of view. So, when this Heart of Darkness was written, it is about the story of a white man who has entered into the continent, the African continent, and from his point of view, he is showing the continent as a dark continent where the people are also savage and primitive and animal-like and beast-like and all that. So, in Nigeria, Africa, there is one writer called in 1950. This Heart of Darkness was published in 1902, but in 1950, there is one writer from Nigeria called Chinua Achebe. So he gave an answer back to Heart of Darkness by saying that you may try to tell that our countries are all dark, but we have our own culture, we have our own government, we have our own administration, we have our own language, we have our own religious systems, and we have all been following this for ages together without any kind of disturbance. We lived in great harmony with one another, and we coexisted with nature and environment. And that's the most wonderful life until your entry. When you entered, you brought in all the negative aspects with you, and you made us believe that our civilization is bad, and that our religion is shallow, and that our languages are not very structured without any proper grammar and all of that. We also have our own language. Why do you ridicule our language? Who gave you the authority to ridicule our religion? So he gave back in the form of a novel called Things Fall Apart. Did I refer to this anytime? I'm expecting somebody to answer this. Did I refer to Things Fall Apart anytime?
Yes, ma'am.
When, Rahman? When I was doing a poem by W.B. Yeats, Second Coming.
Yes, ma'am. The previous one. No, ma'am.
Yes.
When we were doing WB's poem.
Yes, W.B. Yeats poem.
1916.
Turning and turning the winding Gaia.
Yeah, Easter 1916.
Things fall apart.
The second coming.
The second coming, right. Okay, so this Chinua Achebe from Nigeria has taken this line from W.B. Yeats' Second Coming, and he said, only after you came, our things have fallen apart. Our center is broken only after you came. Until then, we were all intact. How beautifully he had written that book, by giving back a huge slap on the face of the white man. It's a beautiful novel which we will be doing in the next year. Yes, Lakshmi?
Excuse me, madam.
Yes,
Can I
Lakshmi.
give a small example, madam?
Yes.
If we go to Tamil Nadu, a small example, even though they know the languages other than Tamil, the people, they never like to speak the rest of the languages, Telugu or English or Hindi, whatever it may be. They influence others to speak Tamil only.
Yes. Yes. That
One live
is
example
what
I
everybody talks about. They love their language so much, they respect their language so much that they do not want to give in to anybody. That kind of an idea should always, that kind of a idea about one's own language and culture should be imbibed by everyone, so that the culture remains intact and the things don't fall apart. Wonderful.
Exact, madam.
So now we will come to the Heart of Darkness, where the narrator of the story is Marlowe. Okay, Marlowe is the narrator of the story. So he had heard about, as a young boy, he had heard about the stories of expeditions, explorations, adventures, ships, sailing, voyages, reaching new places and finding new things. So, like any other European, okay, this is the second nature to any European, being very adventurous and going on long explorations. So when he had joined the company, Belgium company, he was drafted on for duty to go to African continent. So what were these English people doing in different colonies that they have established? In India, what did they do? They have taken cotton, silk, all the raw material, isn't it? The diamonds, the gold, Kohinoor, and then silk and cotton and all the best of the best natural resources they have taken as raw material, exported it to East India through East India Company, and then sold it back to us. In the same way, ivory. Where do you get the ivory from? From the elephants, isn't it? Right. So they were, see, the Africans never damaged the natural resources and the living creatures around them for their selfish motives. They were coexisting along with the other animals and creatures and natural environment. But this white man, when he understood that on the banks of the river Congo, the deep forests were the places for the elephants. So they came from Europe on huge vessels, and then they have deputed their own white men in different stations to kill the elephants, pluck the ivory, and then send it to England or the European countries, whoever is the owner, maybe it's Spanish or French or Dutch or Portuguese or Belgium. So they would take the ivory, see, they are snatching, they are stealing. It is like stealing, from nature they are stealing. But that is considered as not as stealing or cheating or trespassing, but their right. They called it their right. Okay. See, the colonization had its worst effects on the earth because of their selfish motives. And there is this Marlowe always wanted to go, and he was made to become the officer. Somebody, Anil sir, please switch off the mic. Anil sir, please switch off the mic. This Marlowe was appointed as one of the chief officers to go and supervise along the banks of the river Congo in the African continent the supply of ivory. So who are the workers? The workers are the natives, the black people, the African natives. They are forced into work. Who are the supervisors at different levels? The Europeans. So look at this. The natives are the servants and the
traders.
And
Europeans are the traders.
Europeans are the masters.
Masters who snatched their whole national
Europeans are the masters, self-declared masters, and they made the natives as the slaves and servants. So the binary between the master and the servant is so evident here. The outsider is the master, the insider is the servant. See, I have my own house. My neighbor comes to my house and she says, "Oh, I like your coffee, Sharda." Then I make the coffee and give her. So she likes the coffee, and then what she does, she becomes the master of the house. And then she says, "The kind of food that you make is also good. You make food for me." Then I make food for her. Then what she does, she occupies my room. Then she throws me out of the house. Exactly, this is what had happened. The white man did this. He came as an outsider, as a trader, and made the local people the servants, and later they became the masters and then also the authority, the government.
Camel and tentacle.
Exactly. And so the entire narration is about how Marlowe got onto the ship and how the ship slowly passed towards the African continent, and from there how he got down and entered into a steamboat, a huge steamboat that took him along the Congo River. Whenever he saw the Congo River on the map as a child, he was so fascinated by the way the Congo River was shifting its course on the map like a black snake. He was so enthralled by the image of the Congo River's river on the African map as a child. Now, as a grown-up, as an officer appointed by the Belgium Ivory Company, he had come to the Sophia Begum. She's not listening. Sophia Begum.
की टीचर अपने आवाज सुन के लेफ्ट कर दी, क्या बोलते डर गई.
Can someone call her?
आंटी के साथ कर लेते बेटा मेरे पैर पे बैठा है, देखना.
क्या हुआ?
I muted her. I went into the participants and I muted her. Can you all hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Some people, they just switch their mics off and forget. And it is very embarrassing also to listen to such kind of talk. Okay, then, as we were discussing how he was so attracted by the image of the Congo River, which appeared to him like a black snake, long, big snake, which is slithering wildly into the forest areas. Now he is on that Congo River as a Belgium officer who has been appointed to go and look after the work that is going in the main station by the Congo basin to supervise over the ivory production and all of that. So wherever on the way up the Congo River, at every station he was stopping by. And every station is a very official station which was set up by the Belgium government, Belgium business group. And the Belgium officers and then the other native people working under the Belgium officers. He was coming across at every station. But as he stops by at every station, and it's not just 1 day or 2 days stopping by, it goes up to 8 months, 9 months, and 10 months. It is a very long process. And there, when he stops by at each station, he is told by the different officers of Belgium about a great officer called Mr. Kurtz. Okay, Kurtz, Kurtz. He is from Belgium, and he was deputed by the Belgium Trade Company in the interiors of the main station of the ivory business. And he is very intelligent, and that he is very capable, and that he is very civilized, and that he has all the skills of a businessman. So each one is talking about the greatness of Kurtz as a superior being, and that he is highly intelligent, and that he is very smart with his business acumen. And Marlowe, as he observes the local people, whenever he looks at them, he is so shocked every time to see the native people like a bunch of monkeys. He refers to them. Suddenly, he says, as I was moving by under the trees, I saw some kind of an animal moving under the tree. A very weird looking animal. So I went close to see what type of an animal is that. Then I found that it is a black man, a native man, resting under the tree. He is so sick. He is so ill that he is just crawling on the ground because he doesn't even have enough energy to stand on his own. See, this is the kind of lens through which the white man looks at the black man as an animal or as a weird beast, not like a human being. So when he saw this black man, he was sick. Many such black men fell sick during this exploitation. Exploitation is such a big deal that these white men made the black men work for 24 hours, 365 days without a break, so that many of them fell ill and then they broke under the exploitation. They just died there. And when they died there itself, they weren't even given a proper, decent burial. They were just lifted and then thrown to the sides. Like an animal. Even an animal is never thrown like that. Maybe a cat or a dog, when it is dead, some people throw it away on the streets. In the same way, they were just thrown. They weren't even worried about the way they had died, the kind of exploitation killed them. That they should be given at least decency in death, if not in when they were living. Such kind of nice feelings they never had towards the black man. So these are all now being narrated by Marlowe himself as what kind of people he had come across, and how once he comes across a big group of black men as he listens to the sounds that they are making, as the steamboat is closing in towards a bank, he hears a group of local people. They all come towards, almost running towards the steamboat because they are afraid, or maybe they are seeing it for the first time. So they are making a lot of very unintelligible noises, and they are throwing arrows at them. Naturally, this happens if somebody ventures into your own area. You want to defend yourself. So what Marlowe does is he blares the horn so loudly, constantly he blares the horn of the steamer to intimidate the black people to make them run away from that place. So on listening to the blare of the super huge, big blare of the horn, the sound intimidates them and then they run away into the different bushes. Then finally, after almost 1 year or so, traveling through the dark, what his impressions are on the native people, and finally he reaches the station. So, but wherever he was stopping by, he was being told about the greatness of Kurds, the supreme officer, that one day he will make it big and that he will receive promotions. He has been listening about Kurds and about his immense potential and that he can become one day a big officer under the Belgium company. Finally, he reaches that place where he is supposed to meet Kurds. But as he steps down from his steamer and enters the land, he walks on the land, he comes across many black people, very sick and shriveled and ill and like ghosts walking. They are all undernourished. They are all overexploited. But he is now not able to immediately connect with the goodness of Kurds on seeing these black people, how they have become like walking ghosts. All of them have become they are also thin, undernourished, underfed, overworked and overexploited. So every Englishman, when he is appreciating Kurds, it only shows that Kurds was overexploiting these people and properly not feeding them and extracting more work from them. It means that he is a good worker. It means that he is intelligent. It means that he is a hard worker. It means that tomorrow he will get a promotion. Where is humanity here? In order to receive promotion, in order to scale the different heights in the corporate ladder, he is stepping on the human bodies. He is making the human bodies his steps. Staircase is being created out of human bodies and happily he is climbing. That is the kind of symbolism I am trying to derive from it. But when he enters the cabin of Kurds, he sees many skeletons of the black men. It means they are just dead and thrown. Their skeletons are all lying there. It is so dark. The place is so dark. Now you understand the meaning of darkness. It is so evilish. It is so negative. And people are appreciating Kurds that he is such a good worker. What kind of a worker is he? So inhuman. But when he goes inside, he sees Kurds himself is not well. He is sick and he is on the bed. And then a girl, a black girl who is a little bit beautiful in her appearance and properly nourished girl. She seems to be moving about there. And then Marlowe comes to understand that she is the mistress of Kurds. It means these people leave their places for a very long time and stay in such kind of deep forests for 2-3 years. They need to have some kind of an output for their physical needs. What they do is they exploit the local ladies. They impregnate them, they rape them, they live with them, but they don't marry. There is no love. Definitely there is no love. That's only a physical desire that makes them go to the girls. At that time, there is no black, there is no white. It's just the body. It's just the girl's body. And that their physical desire needs to be fulfilled. Look at the hypocrisy now. They always call the white people beautiful and the black as inferior. But when it comes to satisfying their sexual desires, they don't even consider the blackness here. So that is the heights of hypocrisy. So that girl, when she moves around, he understands that is a reference to the hypocrisy the white men are always into. So now Kurtz needs to be shifted, and so he is he has to be shifted to Europe because he's almost dying. So what Marlowe does is he lifts Kurtz with the help of the other people, and he puts him in the cabin, in the steamer cabin, and he starts going back to Belgium in order to give good medicine to Kurtz. So Kurtz doesn't speak anything because he is so sick. But at that time, when Kurtz and both of them, Marlowe also felt that that's the last moment of Kurtz. He's leaving this world. So Kurtz wants to tell something on his deathbed to Marlowe to be conveyed. So then Marlowe asks him, "Do you want to tell something?" Then Kurtz replies, "Horror, horror." These are the only two words that he utters at the time of his death. The last words that he utters at the time of his death is horror, horror. So this is a very enigmatic kind of an end to Kurtz. What was the intention behind he muttering those two words, horror, horror? Does that mean that he had unleashed horror onto the black people, and that he had been subjecting the black people, the local native people, to horrors? That is a big question. He did not die peacefully. A peaceful death is something which everybody wants to face. But this Kurtz did not have a peaceful death because he is being haunted by the horrors that he had unleashed on the black people. Maybe in terms of converting them into slaves and beating them and inhumanly treating them and killing them and exploiting them and raping the local women for his physical desires. All these are the horrors. So Kurtz is the representative figure of the white man who has unleashed the kinds of horrors on the native people. Just those two words and he dies. So what Marlowe does is he stops the steamer by, and then he gives a proper burial to Kurtz by burying him in the mud, and then he goes back to Belgium. So when he goes back to Belgium, the lover of Kurtz comes to him and then asks Marlowe, did he say anything at the time of his death? Was he trying to tell me something, or was he trying to tell something at the time of his death? Then Marlowe tells her he doesn't want to tell the truth that he uttered the horror words, but he said, yes, he called you by your name. Okay, he was remembering you. He called you by your name at the time of his death, and he uttered your name twice, and he died. So with this, the novel comes to a close. It's a kind of a small story, but a very complex story, which gives us a peek into the barbaric activities that the white man has unrolled onto the black. The white man, unrolling the barbaric activities onto the black man, and how the black man has been branded as a savage and uncivilized, whereas the white man himself had behaved in a savage and uncivilized and primitive and inhuman manner. So these are the horrors. This novel brings out the horrors that the white man had become an ambassador for. Is that okay? Are you all there, living and breathing?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, isn't it very nice to know
Interesting.
many
Yes,
things
ma'am.
that happened around us and we didn't even know about it? So, in the second year, you will come across a paper called Post-Colonial Literature, which speaks of all the atrocities unleashed by the white man on the world. We never knew that he did this. We didn't study all of that in our social classes. In social classes, in the history class, just 2-3 pages about what he did. But he did a very bad thing to the many generations to come by. And he never realized that, the whole world um, would be talking about giving back to him in the process of in the form of literature. So after they left, many intellectual people, they started writing back to the white man in his own language. See, this is what you did to us. Who gave you the right to do this to us? So this is the kind of questioning. So that come only when you start thinking and questioning. You are on your own independently. You are thinking on your own. That's very important, and education should allow you to do that. Education helps us to think. It should help us to think. Okay. So, my dear
One example, ma'am.
Yes, Anil sir.
Yeah. One example would be Shashi Tharoor, who will be questioning even today UK about the atrocities they have done to India.
Exactly. He spoke, in the Britain museum or some place. It is such a an eye opener. Now you go back to listen to it, Anil ji. Go back to listen to it. Now you will be able to associate with the speech better.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So,
Excuse me, madam.
all of you. I think.
Excuse me, madam.
Yes, Lakshmi.
Yes, ma'am. Before invention Vasco da Gama about the America, nobody don't know about America. Isn't it?
Yes.
Right or wrong, I don't know. Please.
Yes.
Okay. So till that time, India is so happy without any disturbances, right? But after invention of America by Vasco da Gama, as you told, discovery, they came like a visit and they started their influence, isn't it? After that also, the Indian people, comparing to other countries, only our Indians are very crazy to go to America. Still.
That's
Why
the problem,
ma. I don't know. Educated people, okay, whatever it may be, because.
Thank you, Jyoti. Jyoti Sudhakar says my explanation is good. Thank you. Okay, fine. What actually? How was America? What is America today? It's a very interesting history. See, American continent, the original people of American continent are the native people, the Red Indians. They are the original citizens. The first citizens of American continent are the Red Indians. Okay. So, what happened is, during the 1650s or so, in Europe, many Catholic churches were very orthodox, as we understood in St. John also, that religious persecution was at its heights. Many people wanted some reformations in the church, but such people who wanted reformations in the Catholic Church were persecuted on the religious grounds. So what they did was, they left Europe by big ships and went to the American continent, calling themselves as Puritans. Okay. So they are the ones who wanted some changes in the Catholic Church, and when they were being punished, they all escaped. Some of them voluntarily left, some of them ran away on big ships to the eastern coast of America, which falls under the New York, New England, Boston, the entire east part of America. In 13 colonies, these American people came as Puritans first, and then they established their colonies. After that, 20, 30 years later, the Europeans, all the Spanish, English, French, Belgium, Ireland, all these people, as they have crossed to many other continents and countries like India, Africa, and all that, they went to America. In the same way, they went to America. So, after going there, they saw these Red Indians happily leading their lives there, coexisting with nature, like the Africans, like anybody, the indigenous societies. And what they did was, these people, the Red Indians, were living on large areas of lands, and they were eating the buffalo meat. They were not doing agriculture and such kinds of things. So they said, you should move from these places. The white man, the Europeans who came from Europe to America, they forced the Red Indians, who are the original first primary citizens of America, they forced these Red Indians to move from their villages, to move from their places, so that they can occupy these places. Okay? And then if they resisted, these Red Indians resisted and protested, in thousands they were killed. Can you believe? They killed the Red Indians, thousands and thousands and thousands of them, just because they protested. And then they established their colonies. Okay, so they spread across into the center of American continent, the North American continent, and started slowly moving towards the west. And by then, for almost the entire authority power that was happening in America, in these all colonies that they have established from 1680 until 1770 or so, the European centers were the major centers. From there, the policies were framed. From there, the everything was coming. So these people thought, why should we take it from our masters in Europe? Why should we listen to them? We are not allowed to participate in elections. We are not allowed to participate in parliament as members. So what they did, we don't want any of your authority to continue in America. So we will declare our own independence. Okay. So in 1776 on July 4th, they declared their own independence by saying that from today onwards, no longer would European countries like France or Spanish or Belgium or England or such other countries will not have any kind of authority over us. From today, July 4th, 1776, we have declared our own independence, and we will be settling down here, and we will call this United States of America. So, United States of America is not originally whoever is there in America calling themselves as Americans. They are not the original people. They are all the migrants from Europe. They are all the migrants from Europe. So, who are the original Americans? The Red Indians are the original Americans. Okay. So, what happened to the Red Indians today? They just like the way they told everybody, these Red Indians are told that, see, you don't have a proper religion, you don't have a proper culture, you don't have a proper language. We will give you our religion, we will give you our language. And so they forced the children to enter their schools, kidnapped the children of the Red Indians and enrolled them in the schools, and then told the children not to speak their language, to speak only English, to pray only to the church, go to the church, because your religion and all your stories are all loose and they have no basis. So that is how the culture of the Red Indians is totally lost. It has been influenced by the Now you understand what kind of, this colonization, the impact of colonization is. What today you call the USA is just raised on the foundations of the Red Indians.
Yes, ma'am.
And the Red Indians are pushed to the margins. They are the first citizens. Today they are there like second-class citizens.
Yes.
Are you able to get this? They are the minority. They are the minority.
Very sad.
Very sad. Very sad. So this is the history. If we come to know of history, it is so mind-blowing. Okay? Fine.
Yes,
so somebody said, ma'am, thank you for your explanation. I missed your classes of second year. If I listened to them, I would have done better.
Really, ma'am, sorry to disturb you. Because I am also feeling so sad. Because total our people are going to America because to get, that is one angle is right. To earn, to struggle their families, everything is correct. But there also, what is our nature of duty is 24/7. Even though you are working, they are treating us like damn donkeys, like animals only.
Exactly. There is racism.
Proper treatment.
See, they are exploiting our Indian intelligence. Can you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
They are exploiting our Indian intellect and Indian intelligence. They know that the Indians are very smart. Seriously, they know that Indians are smart. So that is why
in all the fields.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
in all the fields, the cream layer topmost will fly to America. In IT or any of the industry.
Right. In all the fields, you see the number one positions are all occupied by the Indians. So the best they are taking, the best they are exploiting. So this is under colonization. It hasn't ended at any point of time. It is still continuing.
Yes, ma'am.
So now may I take your leave, Lakshmi? Lakshmi Vasundhara.
I am so sorry, madam, to disturb your valuable time.
No. I like to actually discuss. No problem. I am very, very interested to discuss, but almost it is 5:10 and it is time for you all to take leave.
Thank you.
And let me also tell you that today is my last class. Tomorrow my class, which is there on the timetable, would be taken by Christopher sir, because I have already taken one of his classes. So my 10 classes have been finished, and I hope that you are all whatever we did. See, we cannot do the entire material in 10 classes, which is very limited. 10 classes is limited. So we are, whatever we did, I think we have done it well. And I'm hopeful that you would all do well in your exams. And if you had taken the running notes at the time of our lecture, it would definitely help you at the time of your exams. So Firdaus says she likes my explanation. Thank you so much. Yeah, I will also miss you all. Alivelu says we will miss you. Can I see you all? Can you switch your cameras?